To further enlighten our viewers about the use of the models mentioned in the previous episode, let us solve a problem related to a real-life scenario as experienced by our road users from Batangas City. The following data has been gathered with respect to the prevailing fare per mile system. For the first 4 kilometers, a fare of 13 pesos is imposed. This converts to $0.09 per mile. According to Google Maps, the traverse route for public utility vehicles from Batangas City to Lipa City averages 17.59 miles or 28.3 km. On the other hand, for private vehicles, it is 18.08 miles or 29.1 km. The excess time is determined from experience, averaging 12 minutes for transit and 5 minutes for auto. The average daily parking cost for a 9-hour workday is around 100 pesos, which converts to $1.59 or $0.795 per trip. The average speed according to time traversed during mornings and afternoon is calculated to be 27.82 miles per hour for auto and 23.98 miles for transit. Provided that the average annual salary for workers that traverse this path is projected to be 537,000 pesos, which can be converted to $9,492.12. Using an exponent of 2 for work travel, we will now solve for the modal split using the quick response method. For us to solve the percent of work trips by auto and transit, we will use the formula MSA is equals to impedance of travel by transit between I and J raised to B over impedance of travel by transit between I and J raised to B plus impedance of travel by auto between I and J raised to B times 100. And MST is equals to the quantity of 1 minus MSA times 100. So this means that once we obtain the percent of trips by auto, we will simply subtract it from 100 to get the percent of trips by transit. And take note of the variables. MS sub T is the percent of trips by transit, MS sub A is the percent of trips by auto, I is the value of impedance of travel either by transit or auto, which can be solved using the formula impedance is equals to in-vehicle time in minutes plus the quantity of 2.5 times excess time in minutes plus the quantity of 3 times trip cost in dollars over income earned per minute. And B is the percent, which depends on trip purpose. To make it easier, let us first solve for the impedance of travel by transit and auto. Here, we have to convert values to its correct unit to obtain the right answer. To get in vehicle time in minutes, we have to divide the distance to the speed and convert it in minutes since the value of speed is in miles per hour. And aside from that, since the given trip cost is in dollars per year, we will use 1 year is equivalent to 120 minutes to convert it in dollars per minute. Substituting the values, we get the impedance for auto of 163.9295 minutes and 134.0526 minutes for transit. And now, we will use the formula I mentioned earlier. So by substituting the values of impedance and multiplying it to 100, we get 40.0734% for auto, and subtracting it from 100, we get 59.9266% for transit. Based on the data gathered and QRS method, we can conclude that 40.07% of trips are by auto and 59.93% of trips are by transit. And you can see from this scenario how factors such as time, cost, and income influences the decision-making of road users with regards to the mode of transport that they use.